Welcome back to IANA TV. I'm Amy Sweezy. My next guest is Donna Lemm. Donna is with IMC Logistics. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Amy. So wonderful to be here.
So tell me what you do with IMC.
I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for IMC Logistics. We're headquartered in Collierville, Tennessee, and have offices all over the nation.
Okay, that's right outside of Memphis, right?
That is,
yeah,
you got it.
I got it right.
Yeah.
So I want to just talk a little bit about, from your perspective and what you do, what does the intermodal landscape look like right now?
The intermodal landscape is challenging. We've got a lot of start-stop going on, which is always challenging, especially when you look at efficiency and speed. It's tough, but we're very hopeful. We're very hopeful that these waters will be calm. Based on what we heard this morning, different perspectives. I think most of us are anticipating and prepared for much of the same, but all the while understanding that we do have to stay flexible, however we can. We've been through the worst, which really helps all of us. It's just like life. When you've been through the toughest times, you are better prepared to move forward. So we're ready. Like I said, things are volatile, and we are just anticipating. We're anticipating a stronger push, but certainly realistic that more of this start-stop is probably ahead of us.
Okay. Can you dive in a little bit deeper to some of these challenges? Specifically, I know cargo theft is a big concern.
So cargo theft has just been on everybody's minds, and certainly on everybody's business heads today, both from a safety and security perspective. Safety for our people. I am a motor carrier, and here at IANA, I represent our motor carriers. The safety of our drivers, the safety of our people. I think that's true for every mode in our supply chain. But it's also an area of huge investment. And so the issue of cost and investment is also on our minds. Rising insurance costs and premiums. And so then asking questions, what can we do? What can we really do to attack and address the problem? And starting first with ourselves, and then on a broader scale, what can we do as an intermodal community? And so that's what's been really exciting about being here right now. We're in the thick of it, and all the right people are around the table to help provide insight and answers.
I was going to say, do you feel like you're getting some answers? Do you see like you're getting somewhere?
I do. So, Amy, what's so funny? Well, which is so great in a way, is that everybody has a different perspective, right? Mm-hmm. And so just this morning, we held a panel on cargo theft. And so you have a private company talking about what they're doing to provide solution to people and companies today with a private lens on, and, also in recovery mode of products. And so when we talk about cargo theft from start to finish, it runs the gamut. And so we are reminded constantly, did you think about this? Have you thought about that? Also, the cargo highway patrol were here, giving firsthand information on what they're seeing every day. And for him, I asked the investigator, what was your biggest aha moment? And he said, for me, and this is what he does every day. He thought, this cargo is precious, precious. What's being done to protect it on the front end? Because he sees a lot firsthand that can be done. And it makes us stop and say, we first must have and take charge of our own cargo security, our own strategic plan for it, the wisdom that must permeate the entire organization from start. Those frontline folks, from our dispatchers to our customer service teams, all of our frontline people need to be on high alert. So I just enjoyed perspective so much this morning. And, I don't know. That's my immediate thoughts.
All right. That's fantastic. Can you talk a little bit about some of the legislative issues? Would you consider those to be challenges, or how would you define that?
I would define that as necessary.
Okay.
100% necessary. Another thing that we struggle with in the area of cargo theft is when the theft actually happens. You call local law enforcement. And often, depending on where you are in the U.S., how familiar are our local enforcement folks familiar with cargo theft? How do they define it? How do they write it up? How is the report drafted? For us in Memphis, many of our initial cargo thefts were drafted and written up, reported as vandalism. Vandalism. And how do we equate a dollar value to the goods that have been stolen? How do we recover those goods? And learning first, without reporting, you'll never be able to recover those goods. Sometimes we're frustrated and challenged with reporting because law enforcement is pulled. So knowing the facts as much as possible so that you don't get lost in the black hole of information is critical. You ask about legislation. Let's start with how do we immediately create an environment that says to these thieves, this is not going to be easy and you're going to jail. You're going to jail. And so right now, if we can on a local level, at a state level, and a federal level, create legislation that immediately helps us define cargo theft, ideally as a felony. And I say that because the crimes have been so awful. And, for the victims, the losses, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, and in some cases, millions of dollars. It's not sustainable to continue to operate with those kind of losses. So let's start with legislation. We have 100% collaboration on this by our supply chain modes. And I think if we can share by state even what's going on, that's very, very helpful. And then at a federal level, we at IANA are trying to create awareness of the bills that are out there today that people can sign on to.
And what about with the border, like the U.S. and Canada border, the U.S. and Mexico border? Are there different, specific challenges when it comes to that, I imagine?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, they're our neighbors. And so as far as cargo theft goes, I mean, look, we definitely have cross-border issues. Our southern border, we heard just today, we have a problem with theft in chassis. And, migration, where are these chassis going? And, whether we can prove it or not, we believe that we're losing chassis to our southern borders. Can I give you one example?
Sure.
So for our company, and that's why I often say, stop and look within first. And the magnitude of some of the problems, which we had 2 loads stolen in Chicago from our depot with highest security. We have all the cameras and bells and whistles, 2 loads stolen. What do? Protocol. Call local authorities. They were busy. Just file it with your insurance. We said, this is not just an insurance problem. We want to report this. We did. What happened 2 months later will give you an idea of the magnitude of the problem. 2 months later, we get a call from the ATF. And they said, we found your 2 trailers. And we found the contents in them. And the contents in them were appliances. And they had been dismantled. And cash was being stuffed into the back of the equipment. And it was headed southbound from Mexico. I'm not saying that's where everything's going. I'm saying that we have a problem. We have a real problem with cargo theft. We have a real problem with criminals that are originating all over the globe, impacting our U.S. supply chain. When they talk about transnational criminals, it's real. It's very real. And that's why there's an appeal for federal intervention. When the problem's bigger than us, we need federal engagement.
You are a longtime IANA member.
Yes.
What are the benefits to someone who isn't a member? What would you say to them?
I just think it's a wonderful place where we can come. It's, brings in stakeholders, all modes. Our railroads are here, our carriers are here. More importantly, and I say that because I'm a motor carrier representative on the board, our motor carriers are here. And they have access to all the supply chain stakeholders from all over the nation right here. And I think it's really a wonderful opportunity to be able to share what's going on firsthand. We have very serious intention on our committees to address challenges, and not just address them, share them, and ideally solve them. So for me, member for almost 8 years, this is why I'm here, and this is why I'm happy to serve on the board.
I was just going to say, and even beyond being a member, you also are a board member.
Yeah. Well, for me, again, my supply chain background is on the ocean side and on the 3PL side, coming to the motor carrier side for the last 10 years, really understanding, look, this is how we make or break a successful move, right here. And while the drayage world and motor carriers are fragmented, such a significant membership here at IANA, how do we really appreciate the value that the motor carriers bring to our entire supply chain? How do we elevate the motor carrier experience? Because if the motor carrier can pick up and deliver with speed and efficiency, everybody wins. The customer wins. That BCO, that ocean carrier perhaps on a door move, that 3PL cannot be successful without the motor carrier being successful. So often we think in our own paradigms. But if we can just take a minute and look outward, and for the first time, take that last piece of the equation and put it first, wow, anything's possible. And that's what we're working for.
And we're here at the Intermodal EXPO.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to be at this expo?
First of all, I just think it's the energy and the people that are here. The people that are here that do this every day. It's not like they're in for a minute and gone. These are leadership in our companies, small, medium, and large. And that's impactful. And that's why I'm just delighted that we're talking about it, because so often people are like, so what happens? What happens here, ideally, is an honest and frank and candid conversation about what's really happening in our intermodal supply chain and how we're going to fix it.
And what would you say to someone who has never been to an expo before, but is contemplating it, thinking about it?
I would say come. Absolutely come. I have seen just at lunch, I ran into another motor carrier from New Jersey, and he is a neighbor to us in New Jersey. And he was talking about cargo theft, and he was talking about why I'm your neighbor. Is there any way that I can share with you if I have an incident? You're right next door. And I was so excited because the idea of being able to communicate for all of us in supply chain, hey, we see it on our railroads. We see these thieves coming into ABC Rail and perhaps being kicked out, and 5 minutes later, they're down the street at another railroad. They do it to us too in our terminals. What are some of the things that we can immediately do to communicate the problem immediately to each other? I want to know. Don't you want to know? Yeah. So that for me was just another reinforcement just a bit ago. Wow. Motor carrier from all the way from New Jersey's here in Long Beach. What are the chances of him telling me his story, and he's my neighbor? So.
And isn't it great to be face to face now?
Oh yeah.
After post.
Oh my gosh. Look, Teams has a great place in our lives, and it helps us a lot. But there's nothing like this. Absolutely nothing like being able to be face to face. So I agree with you.
Donna Lemm, thank you so much for being here. What a great conversation.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it was great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Enjoy the rest of the expo.
Thank you so much.
All right. I'm Amy Sweezy, and you are watching IANA TV.